So, Cody, now we're going to get into cash plays. So who do you like for cash this week?
So first cash play that I'm going to lock in is you just were talking about him, Patrick Cantlay. So on DK he's 9,800, FanDuel he's 11,600 and $43 on Yahoo. So I don't normally like spending up too much for cash, but I think with the safety and upside we get at Cantlay, I think 9,800 is a really solid price. So now that Morikawa has and Fitzpatrick missed cuts not too long ago, Patrick Cantlay is now the longest active cut streak on tour at 16 straight. So he's, of course, the defending champion here, winning the Memorial last year. And he was also seventh last week at the Workday Charity Open. Really safe play. Love Patrick Cantlay for all formats this week. Second one, I'm going to Abraham Answer. So Abraham Answer has been in really just solid form. He comes in this week, 8,500 on DraftKings, 9,900 on FanDuel, and $35 on Yahoo. So in his last three tournaments, he's 12th, 1st, and 10th in shots gained approach. And that kind of correlates to his form of 11th, 2nd, and 14th since the break. To get a guy who fits the winning mold like Abraham Answer does for 8,500, I think is a really solid value as well. Lastly, there's another player in this range that I really like as well, but the last cash play is Paul Casey, 7,900 on DraftKings, 9,600 on FanDuel, and $34 on Yahoo. Really exceptional ball striker, really strong with the irons and shaping his shots. So second on tour in ball striking for the season, 9th in shots gained approach, and 12th in greens and regulation, and missed a cut all season. He's an older player, so he's well aware of his schedule. So he hasn't played in a few weeks, but I don't think that he'll have that much rust to knock off. And at 7,900, having someone with Casey's upside is another solid value. So who are you liking for cash this week, Zach?
First one is another familiar name you already mentioned. We've already been talking about him a lot. Patrick Cantlay, 9,800 on DraftKings, 11,600 on FanDuel, and $43 on Yahoo. After kind of a shaky first round, he was pretty much solid the rest of the way. Projected ownership is about 20%, which is safe for cash. And really, we don't need to worry about ownership, but some people like to know who's going to be chalked when they're making their lineups. So if that's something that concerns you, he's going to be one of the highest owns. And then he's been top 11 in both tournaments since the break. He's top 10 last three tournaments here at Muirfield, 4th on my model, and he's a safe cash option. And you don't even have to pay over $10,000 like you did last week for him. So just a solid play there. And then the next one is Kevin Streelman, 7,600 on DraftKings, 9,300 on FanDuel, $24 on Yahoo. Comes in 24th on my model, 20th in ball striking. He's 10th in par 5 birdie or better. And there's some really long par 5s on this course. So that's going to be a good stat there. And he's been top 10 twice since the break. And then 5 times here, he's been in the top 20 since 2015. And 3 of those in the top 10. So again, ownership doesn't really matter, but he's 12th highest projected owned at 13%. But like I said, ownership doesn't matter. He should be a safe option for your cash games. And then the last one is Ricky Fowler, DraftKings 8,800, FanDuel 10,300, and then Yahoo $35. So 26th on my model. If you've watched the podcast, I've been on Ricky the last 2 weeks for GPPs, and both times we mentioned on the podcast recap that he did okay for GPPs, but not as great as we want for GPPs. But guess what he's doing good for is cash games now. If we were kind of worried because he had been so poor in a few of his tournaments after the break, But the last two at Rocket Mortgage Classic and the Workday Charity, he's been solid. 22nd and 12th finishes here. And then at this course, he's had 2 top 10s in the last 4 years. And every time he's finished 22nd or better of those 4 years. He's 13th in strokes gained tee to green last week on the Workday Charity. And then he's 62nd overall for the year on strokes gained putting. About 11% ownership. So it's a little bit low enough that if you like one of those guys, if you're like me, I like one guy to be about 10% or less in my cash games, because if he makes a cut, finishes top 10, whatever, then he's going to shoot you up the leaderboards on the cash games and get you there. But as you know, there's a little bit of risk there too. So if you want all safe guys, you can kind of look at the ownership in our model and figure that out. But I like Ricky for cash games this week. So who are you liking for GPPs, Cody?
So for GPPs, one play that sticks out at in the 10K range is Dustin Johnson. So DJ is 10,300 on DraftKings, 11,500 on FanDuel, and $44 on Yahoo. So based on our projections from our resident expert, Thomas Kelly, shout out Thomas, great job again. He's the lowest owned in the 10K range. He's projected around 10%. So he's coming off a win at the Travelers. He was 6th in shots gained approach. He had his irons working and his putter working. And I just came across this today in an interview. He's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder. Everyone's talking about Bryson DeChambeau and Bryson's body change and how far he hits it. I'm just going to read this so I get it right. So DJ said, until I feel like I need to hit it further to compete or beat these guys, then that's what I'll do. But for right now, I feel like if I'm playing my game, he, as in Bryson, can hit it as far as he wants to, and I don't think he's going to beat me. So when DJ's feeling good and he's confident, and that translates to his game. And if we can get DJ at 10%, I think that's huge leverage on the field. Second play I like, I talked about him already, is Jason Day. So Jason Day comes in at $8,000 on DraftKings, $9,800 on FanDuel, and $28 on Yahoo. He's projected to be under 9% owned. He was T7 last week, like I mentioned. This course should really set up for him nicely. The weakness in his game is his accuracy off the tee. So with wide fairways, that kind of mitigates that. His strengths are his strong iron play, and once you get closer to the hole, the better he is. And that's exactly what this track is going to need. So at 8,000, under 9% owned, Jason Day's upside is immense. So I like him for GPPs. Again, another person I talked about in the outright section, great GPP play, I think, is Shane Lowry. So Shane Lowry comes in at 7,200 on DraftKings, 8,900 on FanDuel, and $25 on Yahoo. So he's going to be around 3% owned. So those are the types of guys that you need if you're going to take down a GPP. You need a guy around 5%, and you need a guy around 3% and lower if you're going to take down a GPP. So Shane Lowry, around 3% owned, was scoring last week's tournament, 20 birdies and an eagle. Like I mentioned, if you can avoid those big numbers, then we're looking good. And tougher the conditions, tougher the course, the better Lowry shows up. He's shown that he can win in tough fields, and we got one toughest field that we've seen in some time this week. So I like Shane Lowry at 7,200 on DraftKings. So Zach, who are you playing in your GPPs this week?
First one is going to be Harris English, DraftKings 7,300, FanDuel 9,000, Yahoo $26. Comes in 9th on my model. He finished 17th at RBC Heritage, 18th here at Muirfield in 2015, 10th in ball striking, 28th in strokes gained putting. I debated on him for one of my cash plays, but I decided to do him for GPPs because of the fact that he's only played in 2 tournaments since the break, and they were quite a few weeks ago. And as well as that, his course history is kind of outdated with 2015. So He makes for a good play though, and he's 6.65% projected ownership. So that's going to be anytime you can get anybody below 10%. It's going to be one of those wild cards that if they do what they should, they'll boost you up the leaderboards. My next one is Matthew Neesmith. Comes in at 6,200 on DraftKings, 7,400 on FanDuel, and $20 on Yahoo. I played him in cash last week, and he let me down. Missed the cut, but I want to go right back to him in GPPs. He's 18th in my model, and last week was the first time he saw this course. So he should be a little bit better now that he's seen the course before. I know it's going to be faster greens and everything, but just being able to know, where the hazards are and all that stuff, I think it's going to help him. And he's because of his performance last week and being down towards, because that's one thing. Anybody below 7,000 is always going to be low owned because people don't scroll far enough down whenever they're looking for guys unless they know who they're looking for. So he's projected at 1.65 ownership. And so he's one of those plays with that low of ownership. If he, makes the cut, finishes in the top 25, you have a chance to take it down if the rest of your guys are solid. And he's 22nd in strokes gain approach. And then at my last one, so all of these except for Neesmith, I kind of already considered in cash but didn't go there, is Webb Simpson. He's 9,600 on DraftKings, 11,100 on FanDuel, and $43 on Yahoo. Number one on my model. Most people's models, he's going to come in number one because he's so good in literally every stat right now. Last two tournaments here, he's finished in the top 10, or last two tournaments overall, sorry. He's finished in the top 10, and he's had a win as well since the break. He's 11th place finish here at Memorial in 2016. He's number one in birdie or better percentage. He's 5th in strokes gain approach and 4th in ball striking. 13% ownership projection because Cantley's $200 more and Hovland's $100 less. Webb is going to go way overlooked for GPPs now. So you could get very low ownership on him this week. And